Welcome back to Crystal Clear. I'm Oshrik Vox, and I've done a lot of thinking lately. With there being more Steven Universe on the way past its originally intended ending point with Change Your Mind, I've been wondering, well, how's this all going to end? The art of a series finale is a difficult one, and with almost every recent cartoon finale that's intended to be a climactic series finale, a lot of fans can walk away disappointed. While I personally have enjoyed these series finales, shows like Star, Gravity Falls, Legend of Korra, even Adventure Time, they've all had finales that fans can enjoy, but ultimately take a look back and say, it was just missing something, and it felt kind of rushed. This can go anywhere from a great action scene to a moment where every single episode of the show just feels worth it in retrospect. This is where Steven Universe continuing into season 6 actually has a pretty great advantage. While Change Your Mind was good, I'm not gonna lie, I would feel kind of dissatisfied if it was a series finale, for no other reason than it didn't put the universe in Steven Universe. Don't get me wrong, obviously Change Your Mind was phenomenal, but when it comes down to it, the climax of the series only incorporating Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, Connie, Peridot, Lapis, Bismuth, and of course Steven, although Peridot, Bismuth, and Lapis didn't really do all too much, on paper that sounds brilliant, and I have no problem with them being the focus of the climax, but when you have so many episodes introducing so much lore, I do think the final showdown could have used a bit more work. But then I asked myself a question: how would I end Steven Universe? And the answer is actually pretty simple. I would literally just make it the third act of Avengers Endgame. Now, not one-to-one, but the concept is pretty much perfect when you apply it to Steven Universe. Now, of course, there are going to be small spoilers for Avengers Endgame, but the film has been out for a month, and even the commercials have major spoilers in it, so you have been warned, but I wouldn't be surprised if everyone has just been desensitized by this point. Now, the spoiler I want to talk about in relation to Steven Universe is the scene where the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe comes together, paying off all 22 movies that's come before. The concept of Doctor Strange and other sorcerers opening up portals, bringing together all of these worlds to help the Avengers defend the planet one final time, well, one final time until the next Avengers movie, was one of the most satisfying experiences I've ever seen, and I'm not quite sure if we can get anything like it. But the thing is, Steven Universe has the tools to pull off a pretty similar scene while giving it its own flair and giving the audience their own emotional catharsis. So allow me to describe my climax of Steven Universe. First things first, let's set some ground rules. 1, if there's one thing Steven Universe has taught me over its 5 seasons, it's that their Earth is very different from our Earth, and they can pretty much pull a brand new gem location out of thin air whenever they please. So for the sake of a landscape, we're just going to say there's a warp field, like it would be a barren environment, similar to Beta Kindergarten, but with numerous warp pads scattered about. Except a warp that connects to Homeworld just because, we have the Galaxy Warp and that would kind of lose its importance. And narratively, it could work as this one place where Steven's mom used to unite all these gems will become a place where Steven unites his entire universe. So there, we have that. Now, the antagonists of this arc, Steven's opposers, as I suggested before, would be remnants of alien races affected by the diamonds. They're angry, they want revenge, and they're here to take out all of the diamonds. Now, by this point in the story, they somehow managed to take out white, yellow, and blue. They're not shattered, just poofed and held captive. But for plot convenience, we're just going to say they want all 4 diamonds captured, so they had a satisfaction of wiping out their entire lineage all at once. This clearly removes the biggest powers from the battle. If the diamonds were involved, it'd be over just like that. And it also adds some much needed tension. If the diamonds couldn't take on this rebellion, how is Steven going to measure up? Now, by this point, the rebellion has invaded Earth, Steven has failed to make amends with them, and as to protect the citizens of each city, he's moved the confrontation to this warp field where he, Connie, and Garnet are trying to keep this rebellion at bay. To make the big scene a bit more special, all the other crystal gems were separated from Steven, Connie, and Garnet. Not knowing what to do, he doesn't want to fight, but everything him, Connie, and Garnet throws at this rebellion only does so much. However, because of Garnet's future vision, she's trying to delay the fight just enough to a point where when all hope seems lost, all Steven hears behind him is the sound of a warp pad. This warping in question takes longer than usual, kind of like Peridot's debut in Warp Tour. At first, you really can't tell who's going to warp out, but as the warping completes, all we see is Pearl with a few armored folk. Pearl has her spear in hand, and these armored folk are weaponed as well. The armor lift off their masks to reveal they're the Townies. I imagine Sadie would be one of the more prominent ones, but the inference is the Townies finally wanted to fight back. So Pearl went to Rose's armory, got the armor of the Fallen, some of their weapons, and now the Townies are here to kick some major butt. Steven has a quick and simple moment of relief, as if this ensures him everything is going to be okay. But more warp pads go off, as more and more of the crystal gems come with help in hand. Not just more Townies armored up to fight, but when Amethyst warps in, she's brought the entire army of Watermelon Stevens, who are ready for a good time. The uncrypted gems arrive with Bismuth, Jasper, who by this point would have had a back and forth redemption arc, and the last we've seen of her, she's also got poofed, but Jasper warps in with a few homeworld gems who were resistant of the change prior, but this time, Jasper is donning a crystal gem star, bringing her redemption arc full circle. Just more and more of these characters keep warping in. The Famethyst, Holly Blue Agate, even Lars and the Off-Colors conveniently fly in with the Sun Incinerator. Heck, even Thura and Emerald Ship. It is a jam-packed house, and they're all here to defend the Earth. Even Greg shows up in a tricked out van. We can just say Peridot upgraded it sometime during the season. The core crystal gems stand at the front line. We have a few nice panning shots of every single character united with Steven, where Steven gives a speech similar to Reunited that ultimately ends with, "We are the crystal gems." And then everyone rushes in for a big battle. And scene. Alright, so I just want to get this out the way. Yeah, I don't think we're ever going to see this. That requires a lot of storyboarding, time, and effort that's not provided for a regular episode of the show. The movie could have something like this, but it won't. It's its own story. But that's the only time I see a Steven Universe project getting prolonged production time to fit in something like that. However, it would be cool, and it is my dream. But this is just how I would end the show. Well, not even really end the show, just how I would begin the final battle, how I would do the final battle, and it would be an actual battle. I know Steven always wants to avoid conflict, he doesn't want to hurt anyone, and to preserve that narrative and plot armor, even if the enemies get hurt, no one will get killed. And if they do, Steven can just resurrect them. But how would you guys end Steven Universe or write a final battle? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below or tweet your thoughts at Roundtable Vids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at OstricVox. We're also on Instagram. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. OstricVox, signing out. Spring. A time for rebirth, renewal, and new clothes. So why not head over to our Teespring store, where you can support some smaller artists to bring some great designs to life. Our diamond shirts, cartoons are cool, player select, and so much more. So many shirts. We know you have spring fever. We know you want one of these shirts. Go check them out. Link in the description.